Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean, the podcast. I'm Dana K. White. I share my personal de-slobification process as I figure out ways to keep my own home under control. I share the truth about cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for real people who don't love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number 419, and I am calling it How to Help Other People Declutter. Because we haven't done one of these in a while. And it is the beginning of summertime-ish, almost, right? And I know that a lot of you who have been doing your own decluttering, you might have the opportunity this summer to help other people declutter. Maybe people who live in your house, maybe people who, for your not relaxing at all vacation, you're going to be going and helping your grandmother in her house or your mom or your sister or whatever. But you might find yourself in the situation to help someone else declutter. So we're going to be talking about that and my tips for doing that successfully. All right. Because I mentioned summer, I do want to remind you, as I always do at this time of year, make sure you're subscribed. Wherever you listen to podcasts, like whatever app that you use, make sure that you have hit subscribe so that when I come back at the end of the summer, it just automatically comes up for you. Because if you just kind of remember every week, oh, I'm going to go see if Dana has a new podcast, which I know I do that for some podcasts, and you go check, well, you might forget after me not putting out podcasts for a couple months. I take summers off because this is what I need to do for my sanity and to be able to keep going. And also just, I want to put my whole self into my family during the summer. You think that when they get older and they graduate from high school, which my youngest is graduating this week as I'm recording, you think that summers will not be summers anymore. And so far that is not the case because it involves actually moving multiple people and getting people ready for dorms and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's just a little bananas, but I'm still taking my summers off. Okay. So we're talking about how to help other people declutter. I just want to start out by reminding you what I'm not talking about, right? I am not talking about how to make other people want to declutter. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about how to work with people on decluttering when you have that opportunity. Maybe you're the mom in this scenario and you're determined your kids are going to declutter their rooms in the first week of summer or at some point during the summer or whatever, but you are in a situation where you are legitimately helping other people declutter. Like, this is what we're doing. I am going to be giving you strategies and tips on helping them declutter, not how to inspire other people to declutter. That's a different conversation that I'll real briefly tell you my thoughts on, right? I'm not talking about getting them on board with your decluttering efforts. If you are in a situation where you're like, oh my goodness, my house is absolutely bananas. This is the summer. Everything's going to change. What I'm talking about today is not how to get them on board with that. Like, if everything in the house needs to be decluttered, my advice, and this is the same answer for how to make other people want to declutter, my advice is to not worry about their stuff yet and worry about your own stuff. Focus on your stuff and neutral stuff first in visible spaces, so that the people who are living there that you're like, I wish they would get on board. I mean, this is the temptation. This is the thing that I struggled with and that I realized was actually defeating me and causing me to not be successful. I would say, I've got to change my house. And then I would have this big family meeting about how we were going to change our house. That never worked. It just flat out does not work. Okay. I had to declutter my own stuff and neutral stuff first so that my family was able to see, oh, this is what she wants to happen. Oh, okay. But when the whole house was a disaster and I focused on their stuff first, or I wanted them to be as excited and involved in getting the shared areas done first, they didn't know what it was that I was going for because that was not their normal. They were like, well, I thought you liked it this way, right? Like that was just, I didn't. And it was hurtful and offensive when they thought that. But the reality was that's all they knew, right? And so I'm not talking about how to get people on board. How to get people on board, there's no guaranteed way because you can't control other people. You can only control what you do and what you don't do. So the answer for those is declutter your own stuff and neutral stuff first. But those are other podcasts. What we're talking about today is specifically when you really are helping someone else. Okay. So along with that, if it's your kids' rooms that you want to declutter, work on your own spaces first. Okay. So they kind of see what it is that's happening. And then that way, when you go into their room, there's some background, okay, and some understanding of what it is that we're trying to do here, right? Okay. All right. But we're talking about helping with someone else with their stuff, with their space, okay? I do want to remind you here, I have decluttering coaches. So I learned how to do this stuff in my own house. I teach y'all how to do it. And now I teach other people how to help other people do it, right? So I have decluttering coaches who are trained and certified in my no mess decluttering process so that they can go out and help other people declutter. So if you're like, I wish somebody would help me, well, you can have them listen to this podcast. If you've got a friend who wants to help you, have them listen to this podcast to understand the method that you're wanting to use. But you also have the option of looking and seeing if there's a decluttering coach in your area. Okay. We've actually got them all over the world now. But not every single place, but even if there's not one nearby you that can come to your house, most of them also do virtual coaching, and that is highly effective as well. Okay. Having them keep you on track, work through the process with you over Zoom or whatever they use. Okay. If you want to find one of my coaches, go to declutteringcoaches.com. That's my website. Everybody listed on there is trained and certified in my method. Okay. All right. Also, if you want to become a decluttering coach, go to declutteringcoaches.com and you'll find out how to do that. Okay. All right. So go into this situation with the correct mindset. That is really, really key. When you are helping someone else declutter, I recommend that you use the no mess process because it works unbelievably well when helping other people for all the reasons that we're going to talk about today. When we're talking about it from the perspective of how you help someone else, think about it for yourself, how you would feel or how you have felt in the past when someone came in and tried to declutter and what things went great and what things didn't. But this process works really, really well with other people. And the process leads them through the decision making. Okay. So that's the number one mindset for you to have as you are trying to help somebody is they're the ones making the decisions about their stuff. You have the 5-step process. And so you have an actual way to help them make these decisions, ways to help them make these decisions not be daunting and make these decisions be non-emotional, all the things that make the process work. You have those tools to guide them through, but they're the ones making the decisions. And I think that is the key. And that is the number one thing that makes this process, the no mess process, different when helping other people and more successful when helping other people declutter, right? Because I know for me, when somebody has helped me in the past, and they came in thinking that I was having a hard time making decisions and that what I wanted was for them to make the decisions for me, I rebelled against that. I actually didn't want that. I maybe even thought I wanted that. I might have even said I wanted that, but I didn't actually want it. Like I didn't want somebody to come in and be like, this is what you need to do. This is dumb. It needs to go. Oh my goodness. Talk about things that will make me hold on to it way tighter. That right there. Okay. Having somebody come in and say, nobody should have, this item. I would think, well, but you don't know me. I'm different. I actually do use that item or actually have a reason why I kept all these things. So we're taking all of that out. And that doesn't factor into the process. Okay. But you going into this knowing you're going to let them make the decisions. The 5 steps of the process will take you all the way through where they will be the ones seeing that their reason for holding on to it isn't a good enough reason. Okay. But they will be the ones to figure that out on their own as you lead them through my no mess 5-step process. Okay. It's not going to be you saying that doesn't make any sense. They're going to be the ones figuring out what does and doesn't make sense. Okay. But you're never going to be able to lead them through the process if they feel judged and misunderstood. All right. So number 1 mindset, they are the ones making the decisions. You're helping them make those decisions using the process, but you're not going to make those decisions for them. Them learning that they really get to be the ones making the decisions, that may take some time. They may have never had anybody help them before. They may never have had you help them before in this way. And so you have to earn back some trust that they need to have in you to be able to, let you help them. Another mindset thing, okay, which is basically the same thing, but they're the ones determining what stays and goes. You're guiding them through the tools that will help them determine what can stay and go, right? It's the whole thing of you can keep anything, but you can't keep everything. That phrase that I say has helped so many people finally make the progress because they're like, oh, so I do get to keep the things that are weird to everybody else, but I have this absolute reason why I want to keep it. But I can't keep everything. But it's not going to be you saying you can't keep everything. It's the process that will help show them that they can't keep everything. Okay. Let the facts be the bad guy. Let the facts of where would you look for this first? Oh, you would never go looking for it. That's a fact. That's not an accusation. That's not a tell me when you would ever need this. We're not asking that question. That is not helpful. That will cause the person that you're helping to shut down. A lot of you are listening and you're like, yes, I'm the person. It would cause me to shut down. And you know that, right? So we're not saying things like that. We're saying we're leading them through the facts, which is why the 5-step process is so effective, right? It's let the facts be the bad guy. You're the nice guy. If this is a good cop, bad cop thing, I don't really understand, except that every single TV show always talks about good cop, bad cop, right? It's the one that tries to make friends with the person to get them to relax and tell them the truth. And then the bad cop comes in and they're so mean. And then that helps the good cop be able to be understanding and then therefore build the trust with, right? If there's a good cop, bad cop thing here, then you are always playing the good cop. The bad cop is the bookshelf. Okay. Man, I know, right? Oh, no, it's okay. I'm here for you, right? I'm here for you. I know that mean old bookshelf. Goodness gracious. Why can't it be bigger? I can't though, but I'm here for you. I understand you. I get it. You're the good cop. The bad cop is the drawer that is the size that it is. This is the container concept, right? It's that the size of the space is the size of the space, and its job is to contain and serve as a boundary. Okay. I get to be the one who feels the feelings with them and who understands how hard this is and who understands the things that you love and blah, blah, blah. But, there's only so much I can do because the facts are the facts. The size of the drawer is the size of the drawer. And if we try to keep more, then it can't be under control. Man, I know, right? Such a stickler. That drawer is such a stickler. That drawer is the bad cop. You're the good cop. Okay. It is not you against them. That is the number one thing to remember. Anytime where you start to feel like you're butting heads with the person that you're trying to help, take a step back and go, this isn't how it's supposed to be in this process. Okay. It is not you against them. It's you and them against the clutter, against the drawer, against the bookshelf, right? So you're always, always on their side. And the 5-step process lets you do that. Your job is never to assess the stuff and assign the value to the stuff, that's a hard enough challenge anyway for the person who struggles with clutter. And they may think that they want you to assess the stuff, but that's exactly like when you don't see the value in something that they're like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Do you know what you can do? What you could build with empty Kleenex boxes? Like, how do you not see this? And for you to assess the stuff as, well, this is trash. Like, no, that's not trash. Okay. It can be maddening, but it's going to go so far in building trust and working together. Okay. So you're not there to assess the stuff. You're just there to assess the facts. Okay. Of course you can keep empty Kleenex boxes if you have the space for them that doesn't take up the space that you need for the actual full Kleenex boxes that you definitely are going to be using, right? Like, so you're assessing the facts, you're assessing the space. Number one piece of advice that I have is to print out the 5-step process. Go sign up for my newsletter at aslobcomesclean.com/5, F-I-V-E. Print out the 5-step process. The reason that I say this is it gives you something outside of yourself to where, when they're like, what are you talking about? Easy stuff. Why are you saying that? If it's in print and it's like, no, this is something that this lady on the internet or this lady whose books I've read and they've really helped me understand things. This is what she says. And it's written out. The 5 steps are written out there to keep you on track, but also to be able to blame the steps. Just like we blame the space, we blame the steps. Now, this is what comes next, right? Oh, we're getting off track. Actually, let's go back. Oh, you know what? We need to keep looking for easy stuff, right? Stuff that has an established home somewhere else. So go in order, accept their answers. Accept their answers as you go through the steps. The hardest time to do that is with trash. Okay, so the number one step is trash. And I mean actual, easily identifiable trash, not stuff that you have to reason through whether it's trash or not. If you have to decide, then that comes in a later step in the process. We're only talking about obvious trash to them. What they see as obvious trash. This is the hardest thing, especially for mamas, when you're like, hello, this is trash. And you feel like you're teaching them. And yes, I mean, there's a balance there, right? But at the same time, the reason we start with trash when you're going through the process on your own is to start to build momentum, right? It's to start to make an immediate impact with zero emotional energy expended. It is for you to be able to break through that decluttering paralysis, know what to do from the beginning, and start to make some immediate progress without any angst. Okay? That means do not get into an argument on the trash step, because it's not just about finding all the trash. It's about getting started. It's about building momentum. As you're helping someone else, building that momentum is often building that trust that you really are going to be letting them make these decisions. And so bite your tongue. When you can say, oh, is this trash over here? And they say, oh, no. Don't argue. You'll get to it eventually. It will have to face facts as part of the process. But bite your tongue and go, okay. All right. Is this trash? No. Is this trash? Oh, yeah, that's trash. Okay. The thing that you can do, which will help things go a little faster, is when they identify something as trash, if there are others of that item, let's say that they do identify an empty crayon box, right, as trash. Okay. So this empty crayon box is trash. All right. And they, when you said, is there any trash here? They said, yeah, the empty crayon box. Okay. Is it okay if I throw away other packaging or other empty crayon boxes? Or let's say there's a empty water bottle, like in here, and it's trash or recycling if they have an established routine, right? And there are a bunch of those in this pile that you're dealing with, and they have identified one of them as trash. Then you can say, are you okay if I go ahead and take care of any future water bottles that we run across? Right? So that will allow you to kind of get going on some of those things, but they're the one who made the decision. And then you're using that decision to then help them through that stuff. Okay. Easy stuff is the second step in the process, right? So trash, it can be maddening when you're like, we could get a ton of this stuff. A lot of this stuff is going to belong in the trash. And yet they only take 3 things out. Okay. That has gotten you started. And you keep going from there. And if they say they don't see any more trash and you maybe point out a couple of things and you're like, is this trash? Oh, no. Okay. All right. Well, let's move to the next step. You are building trust. You're building momentum, right? So we move on. Okay. So the next thing is, and meanwhile, they're going to be going, my mom always, I cannot believe that she's not arguing with me about this stuff being trash. Wow. Okay. This really is different. That's valuable in this process, right? So easy stuff is next. What already has a home, but for whatever reason it's here. Okay. So that means okay, next step, we're going to look for anything that's easy. Like you already know where it goes, and let's just get that stuff out of here. Right. Everything that leaves makes the space a little less visually overwhelming, builds a little bit of trust that, we're making actual progress here. Right. So anything that has an established home. Again, a lot of times this can be something where, okay, the pens, pens go to the kitchen. All right. So you are gathering up a bunch of the other pens that you see that maybe they're still overwhelmed to the point where they're not seeing all the different ones. You gather all those. Okay. Well, take all of these to the kitchen, but go with them so that you can face the reality of that space. So if they're like, this pen goes in that drawer in the kitchen. Great. Okay. Oh, well, here's 5, 6 other pens. Here, let's take all of those at one time. And you go and you see that the kitchen drawer is completely full, won't even close because it already has so many pens. Okay. Then you help them face the reality of that space so that they're not just, I'll go put this up. And they really just set it on top of the kitchen island and not actually in that drawer. Right. So you go and you face the reality of the space and you say, okay, which of these pens that we brought in here are really good? And let's take a few things out. Let's take out, some of your least favorite pens so that we have room for this. And so you start to teach them that process of giving things real spaces so that they actually can be under control and stay under control, right? So, again, it's what they define as easy instead of like, hello, this right here. And this can be really hard when you're the mama and you're like, hello, this right here. If you already know the answer, if this is your kid, make it easy on them. Say, I see several things in here that I know where they go. So you gather up the things that you see. I'll go ahead and get those things out of here and let's go put those things away so that when we come back, it's less overwhelming. There's less to do, right? Avoid picking something up and asking, so where does this go? Right? Instead, ask, is there anything in here that you already know where it goes? Okay. So we're not questioning them because otherwise you may think this is easy. They're going to know where this goes. And especially your kids are going to pretend they don't. Right. But that can bring in that power struggle, right? Of like, oh, great. She's questioning me and she's going to be mad when I say, I don't know. And blah. Instead, just ask, is there anything here that you already know where it goes? Okay. Go with them, deal with that reality. Right. And then ask, third step. Donations, obvious donations. Is there anything here that you already know you want to donate so that we can get it out of here before we start asking the questions? We don't waste our time on that and we make momentum or we gather momentum and we make progress more quickly doing this, right? Okay. So again, remind yourself, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to convince them at this point that something should be donated. Let the process work. We will get to all of the things, even the things that you cannot believe they're not taking out as a donation. You might ask, things like, okay, well, these are, outgrown clothes, or these are, whatever. Of course, with your kids, you have a little more control on that. Other, adults that you're helping, they may not want to get rid of outgrown clothes for all the different reasons. Okay. But we're going to get to dealing with that at some point in the process, later in the process. Right. So the main key with donations is it's obvious to them, not what's obvious to you, but what's obvious to them. All right. At that point, you've gotten out all the decision-free stuff for them. There may be things in there that you were sure would be gone by now, and they're not. That's okay. We're going to move on to the next part of the process. So at this point in the process, we're actually having to make some decisions, but we're still going to use these non-emotional strategies to do that. And they work really well with other people. So at this point in the process, every single item, one at a time, asking the first decluttering question. If you needed this item, if you needed a blue pen, where would you look for it first? Okay. You thought it would be gone during the easy stuff stage, but it wasn't easy to them. And you asked this question, and this is the number. Well, you've already been building trust for the first 3 steps, right? But at this point, you're both going to be teaching them how to know where things go, because that's a big issue for a lot of us when we struggle with clutter, right? Like I'm just like, I don't know where everything goes. I don't know where everything's supposed to be. But those things that I did know where they were supposed to go, those are gone in step 2 anyway. And so at this point, it's teaching them how to find a place for things, how to determine a home. We determine the home according to, where would I look for this first? I don't know where it's going to be, but I'm asking myself where I would look first in order to give it a home. Okay. And this is a major trust building, both in you and your relationship, but also not just you and your relationship, trust building, but for them to start to trust their instinct, that their instinct is okay. Okay. And that you really are here to help make this space work for them and not to make it what you would want it to be, but instead to really say, this space is going to work ongoing for a long time for you if we do this in a way where we acknowledge how you actually function and how you actually go. So this question is very easy once you get it going, but earning the trust for them to really answer this question truthfully is where a lot of the work is going to come in for you as you help them, right? Meaning, where would you look first for a blue pen? There is not a right or wrong answer. So you're going to have to prove to them that you don't have an answer in your head that you're making them guess, right? Like, it's not, where does this pen go? And then if you say the wrong answer, I'm going to be like, are you kidding me? How do you not know? We're not doing that, right? Instead, it's, where would you look first for this? It doesn't matter where I keep my blue pens. What matters is where you would look for your blue pens. That's where we're going to give it a home, so that when you go looking for it, it's in the first place where you look for it, right? So take some time for them to understand what it is that you're doing here. Where would you look first for it? No, it's okay. No, there's not a wrong answer. There's no wrong answer here. Yeah. It's literally like if you were searching for a blue pen and you just assumed you're going to be searching for the next 2 hours, where's the first place where you would look? And then we're going to take it there. Okay. Again, go with them on the take it there now. The take it there now is the key to the no mess decluttering process. We don't make piles. We don't wait to do things later. We go ahead and take it there now, because that keeps us from getting into a situation where we've pulled things out and the space is worse when we have to step away. But it also helps us face the reality of the space where we're taking it. Is there room for it there? Is there a, 2,000 pack of blue pens already in that space? And this one is actually something that can be donated instead of adding it to that, right? But we go ahead and we take it to that space. Remember, if you get to the space where you would look for it now and there's no room for it there, then you're just going to remove something to create the space for this item that you would look for there first. Ideally, it's going to be trash or an obvious donation. Okay, because the trash bag and the donate box are back at the space that you originally decluttering. So talking them through that process, getting there and saying, okay, it's okay. We're not going to get distracted by this space. We just have to create the room for this item there. So what here is trash or an obvious donation that we can get rid of. Because, this space is going to have to be decluttered because there's no room in it, right? The space is going to have to be decluttered eventually anyway, but let's not make the house any worse. Let's move the whole house forward just a little bit by giving this item a real home here. Sometimes they might say, oh, actually, I'm not willing to get rid of anything there. Oh, man. Okay. Well, I guess then this thing needs to go in the donate box. What? No. Oh, okay. Well, then what are you willing to get rid of in order to make the space for it? Well, I don't want to get rid of anything in there. Oh, okay. Well, then let's, yeah, I mean, that's tough, but okay, well, we'll just have to get rid of this item because there's, if you're not willing to get rid of something to make the space for it, then there's no room for it and it needs to go, right? Like, so that's that good cop, bad cop. It's the space. Like, absolutely you can keep it. You just have to get rid of something else. Oh, you're not willing to get rid of something else? Oh man, then you can't keep it. It's not me. It is the space helping you make this decision. But that's what you're doing as you're helping them, right? You're being the supportive, helpful one, but you're supporting and being helpful by pointing out and helping them face the facts and live within those facts. Okay. That's the first decluttering question. If they insist that they have no idea where they'd go looking for it, then ask that second question. If you needed this item, would it ever occur to you that you already had one? If you needed this item, would you ever even go looking for it? Because they didn't have an answer to the first one. And so it's, the reality is if you would go out and buy another one anyway, our goal here is to have this space be decluttered. And so if we weren't decluttering this, then you'd be adding more of the same item to your house and spending that money anyway. So let's go ahead and get rid of it. If they really, really can't do that, go back to that first question and say, okay, well, if you're sure that you would know that you have it, then where's the first place where you would look? Having no idea. So this is teaching them how these questions work. Having no idea where it's going to be, where's the first place where you would look? And let's go take it there now. And so you just keep them going through this process, but also know that if they get stuck on an item, you can skip it. It is better to keep the progress going. You can mention the head explosion rule, which is what I use. And I know a lot of you use, which is like, if this is too hard, I'm just going to get rid of it because nothing is worth my head exploding or my head feeling like it's going to explode. Right. But if you mention the head explosion rule and they're like, oh, no, of course not, let them skip it because it is so crucial and important to keep up with that progress, and you will keep on going, and there will be things that they'll be able to answer the questions about and they'll be able to act on, right? And this space is going to be so much better. And then that space being so much better is the thing that's going to make them reframe how they think about all of their stuff, and then reframe how they think about those items that did trip them up at one point, right? So we don't want to stop the progress. It is okay to skip as needed. That gets us through the first 4 steps. So we had trash, easy stuff that has a home somewhere else already established. Obvious donations, asking the first decluttering question. If I needed this item, where would I look for it first? If they can't answer that, then going into, if you needed this item, would it occur to you that you already had one? And facing that reality, basically. Okay. So you're going through that. And then we're down to the point where everything that is in this space is now the stuff that they say they would look for there first, right? Like this is all stuff that, yes, I would look for it here in this space. At that point, we're at step 5. The first part of step 5 is consolidate. So that is one where you can really get in there and help them with that, right? Like if we're consolidating in their toy area, okay, we've already gotten all the things that don't need to be in here out. At this point, you consolidate by putting all of your Polly Pockets together and all of your Hot Wheels together and all of your Barbies together and all of this, like that is something where you can get in there and sort, but we don't want to sort from the beginning. So many people think that the first step of decluttering is sorting, but it's actually here in the last step of decluttering. Now we're not putting them in piles. We're still keeping them in the space where they were and just moving like things over next to each other and then other like things next to each other over here. And we're keeping it within there. So we're not making these piles of things. But so many people think the first step is sorting. But there's so much less to sort at this point. Do you know what I mean? Because all the trash is gone and the easy stuff that didn't belong here anyway is gone. And the stuff that could obviously be donated is gone. And the stuff that, you would look for elsewhere is gone. Like, we're down to the thing. So there's so much less at this point. But at this point, you can really get in there and start doing that. But let them do as much as they can. Let them take those actions more, because as they start putting in Polly Pockets, they're going to start to see, oh, I've got 6 of this one specific dog, or Littlest Pet Shop. That used to be another one too. But I've got 6 of this this specific dog. Oh, okay. That will be a natural thing for a lot of people, not always, to be able to say, oh, I've got 6 of this item. I can let go of 5 or maybe 4 of those items, right? So doing the consolidating, and then if it is still too full, that's when we say, okay, let's get rid of your least favorites until it's down to the point where it all fits in this space, right? Like, there is so much power in referring to things that you're getting rid of as your least favorite, as opposed to the thing you like the least, right? Because it allows it to still be a favorite. We're acknowledging that you like all of this stuff. It is not rejection of the stuff for you to let it go. It's acceptance of the reality of the space. And again, you're the good cop. You're the good cop. The bad cop is the space, right? I wish you could keep it all too. But the fact is, it is spilling out the edges. And so we just still have to keep getting rid of things. And as you go through this, anytime that you can mention that the goal here is that you'll be able to get it back under control in 5 minutes at the end of a day, or at the end of a playing session, or at the end of whatever it fits for the person that you're working with, make it something that comes up a lot in conversation, that's what we're going for. We're going for this space being able to be back under control with a 5-minute pickup, because that'll mean that it's under your clutter threshold. They may or may not want to know, or you may or may not want to mention and have to explain that your clutter threshold is the amount of stuff that you can easily keep under control. But I have seen with so many people that I work with, I have seen the light bulb go off. It's like, oh, that's what we're going for. We're not just going for finding a place to shove everything. We're going for this being functional on the ongoing basis, right? Like, this space is going to be decluttered when I can handle it. When it has the amount of stuff that I, with my personality and everything, that's unique about me, can get it back under control easily in 5 minutes. And I see so many people, when they grasp that that's what we're working toward, be willing to get rid of a lot more stuff when they understand that. Okay. The other thing too is when you notice in the middle of the project, or you're getting close to the end or whatever, and you notice they're just starting to shut down, and maybe some things that they were, gaining momentum on earlier are now like, I'm just done. Let them stop. If you're following the no mess decluttering process, which again, you can get your copy at aslobcomesclean.com/5 when you sign up for the newsletter. But the beauty of the no mess process is you're only going to make progress, which means you can declutter in any amount of time available, and which means you can stop at any time. The trust that you will build when they are just done. And we all know what that's like, right? Like, I'm just done. I can't do anymore. And you say, okay, look at all the progress that we've made. Point out the progress that you've made. If you were able to take before pictures and show them take a picture now and slide back and forth and show them, look at the difference that we have made in the amount of time that we've worked on this space. If you took a before picture, you got a timestamp on that, and you can actually know we've been working for 34 minutes. Look at the difference in this 34 minutes. Wow, you've done great. Maybe they'll want to keep going, but if they say, no, I'm done. Great. You have not left them with piles or keep boxes to go through and then decide what to do with things. Like, no, all that's been done through the process. You may not be done and finished, but this space is so much better. And when you start, for me, and for so many of y'all, I hear from you all the time, that changing your goal to making the space better is the thing that unlocked me being able to finally actually make real progress in my home. It's the same for them. Show them the value of better, and it will change everything. Okay. I hope that was helpful. I will talk to you next week. Bye.